So now, as you can see, our contract is deployed. This is the contract address. So now we will need to copy this, and we will go to save it somewhere, or maybe we can leave it there. You know, we don't need to save it somewhere. And click on the source folder, click on the app.js, and now we will need to connect it. We will need to connect our React to smart contract. And for that reason, we will need some data here. So the first thing is contract ABI. Well, let's start with the contract address because I have already copied it. So this is our contract address. And after that, we will find the contract ABI, and I can delete this return. We don't need it anymore. And contract ABI is equal to where we can find the ABI, of course, here. Click on the artifacts, then contracts, then flower JSON, and here for the ABI, copy all that array, close it, and paste it here. And do we need some indentation? No, it looks fine. So ABI is done, and after that we will now start to use the ethers functions. So const provider is equal to, but of course we will first need to import ethers. And yeah, this is like now we import ethers on our React file. So const provider is equal to new ethers providers, capital W, 3 capital P provider. Oops. And then open some parentheses, and you can just say window.ethereum. That part is done, and now we will get the signer. Signer is the account that is the MetaMask account, which we will be like calling the functions. And yeah, so const signer is equal to, and again here we will say provider, and we will use a special function called getSigner. And provider is done, signer is done. Now we can find, we can create the contract instance. So const contract is equal to new ethers and capital contract, and then address ABI and signer. So once you have done that, the rest is easy. You can just, but we understand that if our connection is successful, we can display something on the console. So I prefer to display contract address. Be careful, this address and this address, they are two different things, okay? This is a variable, but this one is like an object, let's see. So, but of course, the result, they are the same thing. They will display the same value, but they are two different things. So this console will log our address only if our connection is successful. So we will now save this and go back here and npm start. Let's wait. Then we will quickly create a get function and also a write function. This was our previous React window. So let's wait for this now. React, I know React is very popular, but to be honest, I don't like it much. But in any case, if it is popular, it's popular. So when we connect to MetaMask, when we click on this button, it displays our account information. And if I click on this, it should log our contract address to the console. So let me open the console. Now if I click on this, it should display the contract address. Yes, our connection is done. So now we can quickly create the remaining two functions. So the first function here, it's asynchronous. Yeah, now actually we can, yeah, we need to say contract and then our public variable name, which is, let me close this. You can find it from the ABI, but I think it will be more readable if you find it here. So it's my flower. So let's now go back to app.js, and if I say contract my flower in a function, it should display that information. I mean, it should call that variable, but of course, you know, this will do nothing because I mean, I'm just calling a variable, and you know, here it is variable, but if we add a public keyword, I mean, if you make the visibility public, then the compiler is creating a function for this variable, and it's a getter function. That's why we can call it like a function. Although it's a variable, we are calling it like a function. And of course, I need to save this somewhere, save the result of this function call somewhere, and then I can display it here. And I will display it as my contract data. So I will say set contract data, but I will need to delete this C, and now phrase. Yeah, so now do you think if I save this it will work? Actually it will not work, because there is no way for this function to access contract which is inside this function. So I need to take out the contract variable. I need to take it out from this function. So for that I will say let contract, because if I do it like this, then it means my other functions can also access this contract. So let contract, and then of course I don't need to create a const for it. It means that I am now setting a value for this variable here, which is our contract instance. And yeah, it's done. Now I guess we can have a, it's not I guess, we will, now we have access to contract and we can use it here. I will create the second function as well, so that we will not be losing much time. And now, you know, to make a write function, we will again use the, we will first again access the contract, and then here we will call the function name. Actually, function name is change word, and here let's say change word. And as you can see, our function doesn't have parameters, so it will be like that. And this is done. And now, but of course, we need to save this again in a variable const tx. I mean, this is like a standard, okay? So you can name it something else, but this is like a standard. So you say tx response and const tx. Tx is the short for transaction. Tx received. And here we will say await tx response and wait. So this should work, but of course, how we can understand it worked, we should display something here. So let's say console log and tx received. And yeah, you know, I mean, tx received will return an object. So let me click it one more time. Tx response, tx received, change word. Change word is the name of the function. And app.js and wait is a special function. So I think it's done. This is how we are making a read function in a ethers.js, and this is how we can make a write function in ethers.js. Okay, so that's it. Let's now save it, go back to command line, close this, npm start. But you know, React is tricky. I will show you here what I mean by that. Let's wait for the application to appear on the browser. But our project is finished, our exercise is finished. So we will make a test right now, and I will show you one side information about React. So let's close this previous one. So connect the MetaMask, it works. Connect the contract, we don't know if it works, but let's check. Yes, it works. So now, if I click on the read contract, and then if I change data, it will give error. So let me show you. If I read from the contract, you see it works. I mean, like, we could be able to read data from the contract. So now if I change the data, you see there's an error. Why? It's because this React is re-rendering components whenever a component, the state of a component changes. That's why, you know, it's like resetting all the functions. Re-rendering all the components, it's like resetting all the functions. So to overcome this problem, it's easy actually. Instead of calling first read from contract, we will first call change data, because change data is not changing the state of the component. We are not displaying anything on the components. Okay, so for that reason, we will first, after clicking this function, we will click on change data, and then we will read from the contract, and hopefully instead of rows we will see tulip, which means that our change data function works. So I hope you understand this part. I mean, this is something related to React, but I mean, just for curiosity, if you think why I didn't click first read then change, it's because this React component rendering style, let's say, it's nothing related to Solidity, nothing related to ethers, it's related to React. So let's close this and close React again, clear up the command line, and npm start. What can be solution? Solution can be, we can wrap our connection to contract in a use effect hook, and then we can also use some use reference hooks, and you know, it can be like a React tutorial. But as we don't have time for that, I'll just show you one more time. So let's first click on this MetaMask. It works. Let's connect the contract. It works. And as you can see, when I click on the connect to contract, I am not changing the state of the components. I'm just displaying some information to the console. And now if I click on change data, yes, it works. It prompted MetaMask. MetaMask will show me some gas fees to confirm. It's fine. We have enough test ether. So let's confirm it. And let's wait for it. It takes around 10 to 15 seconds. So how we can understand that if our MetaMask transaction is finished? We will wait for this actually. It says it's pending. We should wait for it, so that once we click on this read from contract, instead of rows, we should be able to see tulip. So let's wait for it. You can switch between the windows. Yeah, it's finished. I mean, it's already the transaction is done, and it displayed this transaction object to the console. It's successful. Our write function is successful. And now if I click on read from contract, I should see tulip here. Yes, it works. And yeah, if you don't, I mean, like, you need to do it with this order. You need to click on contract, connect the contract, and then change data, and then read from contract. But because, I mean, these two functions, they don't change state of the components. This one changes state of the components, but it's something related to React. For you, the important thing is this function actually. This is how you are creating a write function in ethers. And yeah, that's it. So I hope this was useful, and I will be pushing all these files to GitHub, and hope to see you next time. Bye bye.